What is important and critical from my point of view is a couple of things. First of all, not only to tell you what I think you should know, but what you should don't. What you should don't know, what you should not. Let me say this again. There's some things I want to tell you that you should know. Things you should absolutely be aware of. And other things you should just not pay any attention to, or that are going to hurt you, or that are benign. It's like foods. Some foods are good for you, some foods are bad for you, and some foods, one way or the other. Our goal here is to specifically tell you that which is critical. Please read. I hope you're reading the banner, the ticker, the little below. I change it up, and I always give you something to think about. I always give you something, and if you don't have the particular time, I want you to read. Read this one. This is very interesting. This deals with the specifics of the following. Let me give this to you. Let me read this to you. It says challenging authority is not merely a right, it is an absolute imperative in any thriving democracy. It acts as a vital safeguard against the monopolization of power and the potential for abuse that lurks when authority is left unprotected and unchecked. Vigorously questioning and critiquing those in positions of power is essential to maintain transparency and accountability and guarantee that public decisions are subject to vigorous, rigorous, and close scrutiny and influenced by the voice of the people. It sounds very John Adams-ish, doesn't it? It sounds like something David McCullough would say, but that's precisely what this is. It is important, it is critical for you to question and appraise everything, review everything, think carefully about everything. Ask yourself specifically, why are they doing this? And more importantly, and this is really kind of terrific, from an epistemological point of view, how do I know what I know? How do I know what I know? Why do I believe what I believe? Why am I saying this? What do I think? What do I think versus what do I feel? That, my friends, is something which is so important and so critical. What do I think versus what do I feel? Because that is something which is really interesting. I don't really care how you feel. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. Now, we're going to be talking about some great stuff today. And first of all, I want to welcome you, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend and a wonderful time and a wonderful Easter with your friends and family. But we start again on this first day of April. No April Fool's jokes. None. The only April Fool's jokes I'm seeing is that from your government and from the most corrupt, ineffective, and contaminated administration in American history. At every level, from the executive, from the commander-in-chief, as you would say, from the president to the vice president to the cabinet to every agency position to the Department of Justice to the FBI, with the exception of the front row, mainline, first responder types who do a tremendous job. We have never seen anything as corrupt as this. You have never seen this before. Franklin Pierce, Benjamin Millard Fillmore, just go down the list. Andrew Johnson. They might have been corrupt or ineffective or ineffectual leaders, presidents, but this needs to be amputated and completely. This cancer is beyond chemotherapy, beyond surgery. We're going to continue with this. We have a lot to talk about. Nicole Wallace, stupid breakdown, who I think is, I changed my mind, who I think would be a better VP pick for Trump. What matters, what doesn't matter. On this, the first day of the month and the first day of the week, April 1st, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let's start off with some critical information, some critical news right now, some critical information, some critical data and facts that you need from our great sponsor. Let's talk about a very serious subject, emergency food. That's right, emergency food. Now, I know at first blush, it's difficult for most people to think about something that they just take for granted. ever reaching, emergency status. We're used to stores always being open, deliveries always made, no supply chain disasters, no ransomware catastrophes, shutting down gas stations, no trucking strikes, no war, no protests from farmers, no mysterious Chinese weather balloons, nothing catastrophic in terms of weather. Well, that can't happen to us, right? And I understand it's a defense mechanism that we have because the idea of ever not being able to eat or locate food is seemingly incomprehensible to most people. But think about this. It's not. That's why it's time for you to go to my site, preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com has the deal of deals for you. Take it as a starter set, an introduction set. You've been putting off emergency food for too long. Some people still have a thing about prepping as though prepping for emergency is foolish. And right now you can save $200 on the 3-month emergency supply kit. This is unbelievable. 22 varieties with a 25-year shelf life, 25 years, 2,000 calories a day in 6 rugged buckets, 120 pounds of food. Could you go 3 months, 90 days if stores closed? Be honest. Could you go a week without any trips to the store? I don't think so. I'm not talking about having stuff in your cabinet. I'm not talking about banana chips and jerky. I'm talking about food, real food. So go right now to preparewithlionel.com. This moment, right now, preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. Go now and thank me later. I want to start off with something that I saw today, and I want to do. It's very important that we pick up today's tutorial with this one, because this is important, because many of you fine folks need to be kind of reminded. Here's what I do. First, I believe that Elise Stefanik would be Trump's best VP choice. Let me explain. This is a question people love to ask. What is a vice president? What is the main goal of the vice president? Very specifically this. You want to make sure that if anything happens to the president, that the vice president will be able to handle and deal with this accordingly. Okay? It's a brutal type of thought, but it's the truth. It's a very, very simple rule. You got to ask yourself a question. Very simple question. In the event Trump were to, unfortunately, pass prematurely, you want somebody who would be able to handle what he did, understanding the theory, the theme, and the goal of the administration. And I think she can do it. Absolutely. She left me lacking for a while when she pulled this opportunistic business about Claudine Gay and plagiarism and DEI at campuses. I think a lot of that was a big suck-up move to Ackman and a lot of folks. There's something which people have. They don't want they don't talk about this rationally. They act like it's kind of a verboten deal. But this is the question. We've talked about the Jewish lobby, and we maybe the sound is ominous or something. But of course, there's a, I don't know if it's a Jewish or Israeli lobby, but of course there is. There's a gun lobby. There's a climate lobby. There is a trans lobby. Of course there is. There is a group of people who say this is our position. And there are people who believe in Zionism, believe in Israel or Judaism, and there's nothing illegal with it. There's nothing, and that we're in Zionism, and the word has become almost criminal. It's as though Zionism necessarily implies by necessity the Nakba. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I really don't. I'm not trying to be dense here, but I mean it. I don't know if that's even remotely true. But I don't want to argue that point. What I'm saying is there are people who I think sometimes gratuitously try to, and they do it for all things. There are some people who do it gratuitously to impress the climate lobby. There are people who sometimes try to impress that there is an affiliation with the gun lobby. Who was it? Ann Coulter one time used to show a picture of her firing a weapon. She has no interest in guns and firearms. Stop it. So maybe Stefanik was figuring, look, I'm gonna, who knows? So she kind of lost me for a while there. Because while I understand DEI is kind of a distraction. By the way, our good friend Cobbs asks a question. GM, good morning, sir. Question is, can the chemotherapy kill the cancer? Yes, absolutely. Yes, with no margins. You want to kill margins too. Not only do you want to kill the cancer, you want to also surgically remove it. That's what the election does. But the chemo can kill it. Some of it's inoperable. If you can somehow remove the cancer, do surgery, make sure there are no margins, make sure there are no edges to this, make sure that there is nothing that is available, then maybe we've got something there. But at least what's onto this DEI thing too much. And by the way, I know you find folks, you love this term distraction. You love distraction. Distraction is your favorite, favorite, favorite word. I know it. I know it to be true. You love distraction. And there are two types of distraction. One is something to make you look the other way. But there's also something called low-hanging fruit. And there's also a distraction this way. Quick story. There was a friend of mine who managed a place. It was have you ever been to a radizio, a churrascaria? There's a place on 50th, whatever it's called, Churrascaria Plataforma. It's one of those. It was one of the first Brazilian steakhouses where you have the green and the red. You eat meat if you like meat, and you put a red. You have like a coaster. And when you want the meat coming, you put the green side up and they keep bringing you this meat on a skewer. And then when you're done, they turn it over. But when you walk in, they have this big salad bar. And I told people, stay away from the salad bar. Salad bar is not a distraction. It fills you up. You say, oh, look at that. That's what the news does. Nicole Wallace. Let me give you an example. Nicole Wallace. Have you seen this story? This is not a news story. Supposedly, by the way, hats off to Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer is always portrayed as some kind of a nut. Really? You think Laura Loomer's a nut? You think she's a nut? I don't think she's a nut. You know what I think is a nut? I think a nut is on Easter putting up trans rights days. I think that's nutty. But anyway. So this Nicole Wallace apparently throws a script or something down and goes, I can't take this anymore. Now let me tell you how it works. This story is the salad bar. It's not a distraction. It's something else. It's easy to talk about because there's nothing there. And what you do is you say, oh, TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. These Democrats are crazy. It's a waste of time. Stop talking about that. Stop talking about that. It's professional wrestling. It's the salad bar. They want you to fill up on that. That's not a story. Nobody cares about that. And what they did was they went to her, and not just her, but others as well. And you're going to be seeing more of this. They're going to say, Nicole, listen, do me a favor. Nobody watches this. Nobody. There are YouTube channels with some 12-year-old unboxing a curling iron that gets more viewers than you. You are at the bottom of the barrel, the nadir. Do you understand what I'm saying, Nicole? You understand what I'm saying, girl? Do you? You got it? I'm telling you, believe it or not, pardon me as I read. These are desperate times. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this kind of internecine fighting. In the course of this, you're going to take your paper and you're going to throw it and you're going to say, I can't take it. I don't know what I have to do. Donald Trump is a threat to the judiciary. And I interviewed the son of the judge whose son was killed. And okay, fine. They don't know. They just don't know what to do. Now, the next question is people say, well, what difference does it make? The difference is this goes to show you the level of desperation of these people. This shows you the level of desperation. This shows you what we're looking at right now. You want to see what the enemy is doing. What do you do when you, let me ask you something. What do you do when you capture the enemy? What do? You interrogate the enemy. You say, what's the enemy doing? What are they doing? What are they thinking? What's the mood? What's the attitude? What's the thought? That's what you do. And you look at their information, you look at because remember, NBC, CNN, Morning Joe, thank God other people do it. They are indicators of how Trump and others are being viewed and what they're afraid of. This is it. So we watch this, not because we care about it. We watch it to listen to the level of desperation, and then we move on. But we don't talk about it. And there are platforms. Listen, and I'm not going to do this, and maybe I should do more of it, but I don't do these things where I put something on that somebody said and I break it apart. I go, oh, look at this. Maybe I should. Maybe people will like it more. I just don't have any interest in breaking down this Nicole Miller thing or whatever. I mean, nobody. I mean, I thought it was a Wallace. See, I'm thinking Nicole Miller. See what I'm doing? When I see Nicole Wallace, I was thinking Nicole Miller. I thought it was a clothes company or a perfume. I don't even know who she was. She used to be on The View. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. And I would just sit there and say, look, we're going to see more of it. So they went to Nicole Wallace and said, listen, you got to do something. Nobody's watching this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put some judges on. There's some people on. I want you to pretend. We'll give you the mark, the floor director. Jerry will give you the cue. And we want you to throw your script and say, look, I can't take this. And pretend you're having an internecine battle with somebody in your on the team. You're tired about Trump. Okay, got it? Because listen, it's crunch time, Nicole. We are dying here. Okay, but remember, budgets are till next year. So they're going to make this money. So they are already when it comes time for budget talks, when you hear we're in budgets, whenever you hear this, oh my God. If you've ever worked for a radio station or TV or whatever, when they see, hey, is Jerry there? He's in budgets. Ooh. That's when the decisions are made. This is over with. This is through. This is finished. This is finished. You see, the informational part of it, I told you yesterday, Mrs. L and our incredible crew, when I had just a wonderful Easter day. It was beautiful. So we went out to this place. I don't want to mention the name of it. They may not want me to mention the name. But anyway, it's in Jersey. It's the town that was founded in 1750, 65, something like that. We're at this restaurant. It was actually a kind of inn, 1800. It was actually it was like a stable. You could see where in the old days in the back where they put the horse, 1800. It's wonderful. So I walk in and I see somebody. I know. I walked in and this guy says, hi, Lionel. I've never seen this man before. He says, I want you. So I stop and I talk. I always shake hands. I always ask people what their name is. And I was saying, they said, oh, and it happens more than you realize. I said, this is something which is important, which is what's happening with you right now. This is a relationship that we are having. And listen to what I'm saying very carefully. And if you're able to convey this, you're doing well. When platforms came out like this, and people came out of the blue, quote, housewives, students, lawyers, regular people, nurses, just any people, black, white, gay, who said, I can do my own. And all of a sudden, people got into knowing how to work videos and crafting. We have more of a relationship between me and you and me. Oh, his fellow's name is Charles. Charles, if you're watching, he was there with his family. Than Nicole Wallace will ever have with any of her people, because she's in this, I'm a rarefied person, I'm a star. It doesn't work like that with us. It doesn't work like that. So I'm not interested in what happened. I'm interested in what it means. And this is sheer desperation, my friends. Sheer desperation. And what you're seeing right now, this is beyond revolutionary. We're going to get to some other stuff too, but I got to tell you what's on my mind, because I've been thinking about this. Because I put up a title. Today's called Suge Knight's Threatening Prophecy, Diddy's End and the Undoing of Hip Hop. This is This is huge. This is, by the way, just parenthetically, this guy Diddy was a con man, like you cannot believe. He got Burkle and other people. He was one of the most aggressive marketers anybody's ever seen. Who had nothing. Let me tell you something. He may look stupid, and he may not be able to close his mouth. He can't close his mouth. He's one of these people that the teeth in the mouth they don't ever close. A fly could go in there, but he is good. We'll get to that in a moment. So what we're seeing right now is, so number one, I don't want to talk about Nicole Wallace. Talk about Nicole Miller. No, Nicole Wallace. I have no idea who she is. So that's that. Number two, and I don't know why people are doing this. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. To me, it's a waste of time. But at least Stefanik, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. She's actually very, very good, very, very smart. And she got involved in this Ackman business. How do I say this? This lunacy about whatever this business is. I have no idea. Claudine Gay, and the whole thing about it was so stupid. And what they were doing is they were doing Bill Ackman, who of course is a big hedge funder, and he's right, but he obviously is was very, very taken over the fact, and he should be, that they were perceived as Jewish students on colleges being threatened, pro-Palestinian. And by the way, he's got a good point. And my point is this. I told you the two things I hate in my life. Two things that will get my attention. Number one is equal protection problems and bullying. Bullying, it goes back. This is the unfair the unfair victimization of somebody lower than you or weaker than you. This is why I hate child predation. Like, I've got to have a reason for it. And the second is equal protection. They were basically letting Jewish students on various campuses kind of like, well, do your best. And whether some people say, well, they were themselves kind of, maybe they were kind of roughed up a little bit, but so what? Bullshit. If Palestinian kids or gay kids or LGBT, if they were roughed up, they would have been bounced out of Harvard so fast. That's what gets me. Okay? So anyway, that was moved over here. Remember, if you find me agreeing with you, I might agree with your position, but not for the same reason you agree. I'm not arguing who's right or who's wrong about Hamas or this. No. I'm saying if you want to treat people right, you treat people fairly. Just like yesterday. This pisses me off. Why are we pissed off? Why? Piss is a weird word in English. In Ireland and the UK, you're pissed, you're drunk, you're pissed off, pissed on, pissed. I mean, you get the right. You get into the pissgate, urolagnia versus undinism. For those of you who want to keep track with paraphilia involving urine, undinism. Anyway, so I don't really care about most of this stuff, but I do. This got me so pissed yesterday. The Biden administration, by the way, to call it the Biden administration, you should call it the shadow government administration, because Joe Biden is in charge of nothing. He's in charge of absolutely nothing. But here's what he did, or here's what he signed off on. They decided on Easter, the holiest day of the Christian calendar, to say, we're going to have Trans Rights Day and Governor Hochul, trans rights. Do me a favor. You don't have a hair on your ass. You've got BB balls, little microscopic huevos. If you don't do this on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Ramadan, go ahead. During Ramadan, do that. I dare you. I double dare you. See, that's the part. Christians are open season. It's like, screw them. Really? Same thing with this Harvard. Jewish students, hell with you. Palestinian students, well, Gays too. Well, LGBT. Well, yesterday we were eating we have a friend of ours who works in the cosmetics kind of a makeup industry. I said, let me ask you a question because you know this probably more than I do. How many transgenders, real transgenders, have you met? Not somebody who wears, not cross dressers. Guess something. How many transgenders? 2. This is a person who's been in the business, in the industry, 20 something years. 2. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any, but I think at this point, finding a unicorn is a little easier. I'm just saying, where is this? Where is this? During a certain period of health emergency, I don't want to go through it again, but I would ask people, how many people do you know have died from this? Not as a comorbidity, but how many people you know have died from this? Died from this. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say what it was. Okay. But imagine if I say, excuse me, raise your hand. How many people have you know people you know who died of cancer? Hands will go up. Heart attack, hands will go up. Pancreatic cancer, hands have gone up. Diabetes, hands will go up. This, the Parkinson, hands are going up. Hands are going up. Hands. Name the disease in huge throngs. Leukemia, hands are going up. How many transgender? None. How many people died of this? None. Now, sometimes that's misleading. How many people do you know who've died of a fentanyl overdose? None. Does that mean there is none? No. It just means that may be a particular pathology that does not lend itself to a lot, but it's still a lot within the particular community. Does that make sense to you? You're not going to, like, I knew nobody, well, not really, who had AIDS. Never. Maybe one, sort of. Nobody. Now, maybe I'm not in the wrong. Other communities they did. So remember, always take in data. Always ask yourself, how big is this problem? What is what is something that is what is here we go, for example. Remember, and they're back. Do you remember, yes or no? How many times did you watch a TV commercial where they had the mandatory biracial couple? Black father, white mother, whatever. And by the way, sometimes biracials don't work. White woman with a black man versus white a man with a black woman. Some work better than others. It's weird because they've done every demographic research there is. Anyway, I ask people, how many interracial couples do you know? Some, I mean, sure. And by the way, we never talk about Asian. We never think about Asians as a race. When we say biracial, we always think about when. And by the way, Asian, Chinese Asian, not Indian Asian, because that's technically Caucasian. This is weird. Indians, from Mumbai, Punjabi, these are Caucasians. They're not Mongoloids, using that classical Negroid, Mongoloid, Caucasoid. So we get into this weird stuff about a Chinese Asian it's a different race, but an Indian Asian isn't. So Asian's not even the right word. You see what I'm saying? Are you following this? There's a lot of data to take in. You're always taking in data and you're saying, okay, you're processing it. Okay, I got it. And what they want to do is basically destroy anything involving reality. Now, second thing, at least definite. Here's what they're going to do. Now, let's clarify this once and for all. She was on, and I saw this something on if it wasn't for YouTube, I'd say, do I have to see this? She was on Meet the Press, or I don't know what the hell it was. And they're talking about, January 6th. I'm thinking again, okay, listen carefully, and let me tell you how to answer this question. Memorize this, work through this. Oh, look at Liz. Let's all like this and get Lionel to the top of YouTube. Lizzie, she's just, that's for you. You see this? These are the cheerleaders that are not, they're just priceless. Thank you for that. Thank you. Hats off to you. Okay. Here's what you say. You ready for this? This is the answer. Let me show it to you. It's very simple and works like a charm. It's great. Let me see if I can explain this to you. Okay. Number one, do you remember when Joe Biden was answering whether somebody needed a weapon? Do you remember this? Remember what I was talking about? Well, Second Amendment movement. Hey, we need guns. We need to be able to have a gun. The Second Amendment, self-protection. And he said, don't you understand something? When you're up against, I forget how I'm paraphrasing. When you're up against the military or the government, you're going to need F-15s and tanks. And you're welcome. And howitzers. And you're no match for the government. You're not going to. You're not going to. If they want to take over, you know you could read the exact quote, but Joe Biden says something to the effect of, if you think that you somehow are going to, you know, beat them, you're crazy. Because I think he said F-15s, tanks, mortars, bazookas. You don't have any of that stuff. So put your guns away, Mr. Second Amendment fool. Put your guns away. You are no match for the government. Remember this? This is what he said. And what you do is, if you're really lucky, then you have one of these judge rules agree with you and say, well, it makes sense to me. You think that makes sense? Well, I think that makes sense to me. Well, okay. Makes sense to me too. It sure does. Yeah, makes sense to me. Good. So what you are saying then is that we, the United States of America, are no match against the federal government, who has all of this stuff, right? Classic cross-examination, leading questions, right? Well, yeah. So what you're saying is, let me see if I get this straight. You're saying, put your guns away and don't worry about your stupid. By the way, I need 700 likes. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. So what you're saying is, doesn't matter what you have. Doesn't matter about your guns. You are no match for the federal government. Right? Right. So how can a bunch of beer-bellied, cami-wearing, eye patch dudes with a Gadsden flag pose any threat to the United States? How could some freak with his face painted, wearing Valkyrie helmets and a Sonny Bono a vest pose any threat to anybody? How did those people on January 6th, who were invited into the Capitol and who talked a lot of smack and a lot of shite, how can they actually pose a real and serious threat to democracy when you just told me that my Second Amendment means nothing because I'm no match for the federal government? That's how you get them. And remember, always wait. When you ask a question like this, especially when you're with a group of people, let them answer. Don't keep talking. I've heard people who, when they say something and they make a good point, they keep talking. It's like, wait, let them talk. Well, we're waiting. Yeah, well, January 6th, excuse me. You just told me you agree with Joe Biden. You said that my guns, no matter what I have, AR-15, they weren't even armed. These people weren't even armed. You're telling me that being armed is not enough to fight or overthrow a government. You told me that. How can these people walking around with flags overthrow or pose a threat to the country? They didn't. So you're lying. You're perpetuating a myth because it's all you have. It's like this is the only thing you have, the only intellectual item you have, and you stand back and you don't know what to do. You just don't know what to do anymore. You just say the same thing. And you go on these stupid shows and it's like you have not really understood how things work. Stand by one. minute, my friends. Think very clearly as to what I say. And let's talk about our great friends at mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Well, it's time yet again to hail and salute our great friends at mypillow.com. And if you use promo code Lionel, you get a free gift. No purchase necessary. I know, a free gift. Gifts are free. Okay, it's a tautology, so sue me. But listen to me and listen carefully. What are we talking about here? Down comforters, flannel sheets, Giza Dream bed sheets, My Pillow 2.0 body pillows, waffle blankets, couch and recliner pillows, sheets, slippers, percales. I'm not even done yet. Towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, pet blankets, bolster pillows, name it. Items to help you luxuriate and relax. And they're monster sellers, slippers, my slippers, slip-ons, moccasins. Think about it. What do they do at My Pillow? What's their main goal? To make things real soft, plush, real comfy, or comfy as I say it. How perfect. So here's the link right now. Go to mypillow.com/Lionel. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel or /Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. 800-645-4965. And watch how fast our good friend Mike Lindell answers the phone. mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, simply and absolutely the best. So I want you to understand this again. Make sure you get this again. One more time. If they break up January 6th, I want you to practice this. Seriously, it's like a kata. I want you to practice this. I want you to say to yourself, if you're telling me that you want to get rid of all my guns, take all my ability to protect myself, my AR-15s, semi-automatics, pistols, carry permits, open carry, you want to take all that away. Specifically because my claim that it is to be useful in fighting off a rogue government, because there's no way you can overthrow a government that is determined to wipe you out. If that's true, then how did those people who are unarmed, look at those folks, pose any threat to the United States? It's a talking point, and it doesn't work. Okay, next. Whatever they don't like you, they call you, oh, I hate these reaction things. Pardon me. That is so stupid. The other day I was doing, this is terrible. I was doing an interview with somebody, and I was saying, like, and as far as I'm concerned, the microwaving kittens is wrong. I was making some obvious terrible point, and all of a sudden this smiley face or something, like, what the hell was this? So anyway, sorry about that. Oh, and by the way, my friends, just so that you know something, this is do you like this camera? I like this camera a lot, right? Don't you like this camera? Seriously, because I can make it, I can change it, I can, if I want, I can do some things, like I can make it, I can get, clear up the back. I like it like this. I like it kind of fuzzy. You know what I mean? I can change the light, the studio lighting. I can do that. I can do some things. This looks pretty good, doesn't it? This is an iPhone. This is an iPhone, and you can use it on on Mac by using it. So if ever you're interested, it's there's no reason for you, because sometimes the cameras are the worst. The camera that comes with this, the regular, horrible. But anyway, that's just an iPhone. You put this little clip on, and there you go. There you go. By the way, please invest. I like a nice USB mic. It sounds better. Just invest in that. It's really no big deal. It's no, I mean, you can wear headphones. I'm just telling you what to do, because I think more people should actually speak, and I think more people would be better. I think they should utilize this particular platform in any event. Okay, next. What are the subjects that are of interest to people? First and foremost, how many of you, dear friends, do not believe one word of the Baltimore story? How many of you absolutely are thinking, wait a minute? There was a story I came across that said something to the effect of, It was bridges that are going. They're making it. Listen to this. They're making it sound like bridges are going to fall. Okay, they're basically using this idea that we're worried that there's going to be bridges that are going to fall. No, bridges fell. Now I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm going to go on the record and tell you this. This may shock you. I'm not an expert in terms of bridge engineering. I don't know anything about that. I really don't know anything about it. But there's something about boom. I'm not buying the whole thing. And I was looking at pictures of in 1980 Sunshine Skyway Bridge in Florida. I remember that like it was 45 years ago, like it was yesterday. So anyway, making a long story short, I'm not buying it. But don't worry, there's going to be no investigation. Nobody cares about this. Nothing will be done to review this. Nothing. Let me say this again. Nothing. So issue number one is the bridge. Everybody that I know, everybody, and I have younger people. I'm saying, what are your friends talking about? Everybody glommed onto that. I listen to what people say, and I go with it. It's like if remember the song "Sugar, Sugar." Oh, sugar, dun, 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 dun. Oh, honey, honey. This is the Archies. Remember that? It was Andy Kim and whatever. That was a hit. Why? I don't know. I thought it was stupid. It was bubblegum. I don't know. It was a hit. I look for the hits. What are you talking about? What matters to you? Let's jump in and listen. Don't try to just. And everybody, how many folks still to this day say, I'm not buying that bridge thing. I don't care. You could forget it. I'm not going to forget it. And nobody's going to do anything about it. How many of you still say, I do not understand any of it? Think about that. Listen to this. Look at this. When I was a kid, New York City, when I was a kid, this is interesting. This is from Calypso Kins. He writes, when I was a kid, NYC kid, I would go on the floor in the car when I went over a bridge. They scared me. Interesting. Here's Choosy Heretics writes, bridge fell at 1:30 a.m. and the first thing in the morning for the AM news circuit, the executive branch issued a whole bunch of shite ready to roll, denying everything. Interesting. Leonardo blocked. Don't know what that means. I drove southbound in the northbound lanes, Skyway. Oh, you remember that one. Now that was something. There's something about this story. The bridge collapse is fishy AF. I think we know what that means. As we got it. Just to let you know, I know that. Demetrius Splitkin, BS. He remembers my Demetrius Splitkin. My son believes it was sabotage. See, Faye Dalton. See that? You see, Faye? They're making your son and everybody be, oh, he's a conspiracist. No, he just knows bullshit. You know it. It's like, I don't believe this. The bridge didn't collapse. It was knocked down. And people who say, oh, it was just an accident, don't be a dick. I've been fielding questions, replies like that. I love that. Ship hit Matthews Bridge in Jacksonville, Florida. Strong currents. Okay, there you go. All the gas. See, this is something. They make it sound like you're a nut. MF says everything that happened when the ship hit the bridge could be either anticipated and done on purpose or by mistake. Nefarious actions need more proof to be proof. Absolutely. Could not say it again. Nefarious actions need more proof to be proof. Absolutely. And I'm saying right now, there's no proof of anything. If you've listened, and by the way, thank you for this. If you've listened to me before, you'll know. Absolutely. Please don't say Occam's razor. Please. Please. Whatever you do, whatever. Just don't. Please. Please. We understand. I'm not saying this. But here's the story. MF. I want you to imagine. Do you like true crime? I do. And one of the stories is the way something gets somebody's attention. And the first thing a detective does or somebody does is they say, wait a minute, what's going on here? There's a guy outside and he says his daughter was abducted, but he's not crying the same way. Something weird. Well, you need more proof than that. Oh, I definitely need more proof. Remember the fellow who killed his wife and his 2 daughters? Remember they threw them into an oil thing? It was horrible. And the wife's friend said, something's wrong with this. Remember that? It started off just like that. She was right. She said, something's wrong with this. She was 100% correct. This is weird. Something's not, this is not right. No. Jerry always comes home. Well, he's 16. He's a runaway. No, you don't understand something. No, something's wrong with this. No, he had to go this. He had this prom and he was excited and he never does this. You just know, well, we need more proof than that to convict. Nobody's talking about conviction. This is the probable cause part. This is the keep going. This story doesn't make any sense. I'm not buying it. That's what this is about. The story didn't make any sense. It's bothering people. It's bothering people. And I hope that the crowdsourcers out there keep this up. And you don't understand something. We have nothing but people who are experts on this. Could be. I would like, this may come as a surprise to you. I don't like conspiracies. I want to live in a world where we don't have nefarious cabals and criminal confederations working against us. That's what I want. Okay. That's number one. Number two, Kate Middleton. I know she's not on our radar here. I don't believe this story stinks from I've got a friend of ours, young person, doesn't believe, I shouldn't say that. Very rational. It's not prone to one thing or another. Says, I think she's dead. Now I thought, wait a minute, what? I said, do you know what? You think Kate Middleton's dead? Yeah. How could they pull this off? What do you mean, how can they pull this off? Like this. And I found myself saying, wait a minute. What do you mean? They pulled it off like this. The point of this is when somebody is doing something, imagine you're in a restaurant and some guy gets up and starts slapping his wife. And somebody says, hey, that guy's slapping his wife. And you say, in a restaurant? In public? Why would he do that? I don't know. Why don't you ask him? He's slapping his wife. That's crazy. You've got to be crazy to slap your wife in front of people. He's doing it. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes we confuse our own incredulity with the fact that the evidence is right before us. I don't know. I ask myself, it doesn't make any sense. Why would she be dead? That doesn't make any sense. You can't pull this off. Because eventually you're going to say, God forbid, and I hope to God it's true, not true, pardon me. I don't know what it is, but then again, you're saying, so why don't you? This is really crass. I'm going to say this. If she has cancer, why not tell people? You're the king. You're not running for office, or you will be the king. The king's got cancer, and I think, Chuck, keep an eye on him. And I've talked to friends of my doctor friends, and they're kind of guessing what it is. And I don't want to play that, what kind of cancer is it, but they haven't even told you yet, which to me is, I want to help people. I want to be able to, if I've got it, I'm going to say, look, this is, do you know that, have you noticed, I saw something the other day, that when some people have something, the first thing they want to do is they want to own it They want you to say, like, I'm the first person who's ever had this. For example, have you ever met the new mother? You ever met this? Most of them, not all, but a lot of them are, well, I'm breastfeeding. You're not the only person to breastfeed. You're not the only woman who's had 3 o'clock feedings or whatever it is. They think like I'm super mom and I'm the only person to ever have a child because I'm the only person ever to breastfeed. I'm the only person ever to have that. My child is the only person to have colic or distemper, whatever. I'm the first one. Okay. Then all of a sudden somebody will say, hey, this is good. Sometimes there are, I'll tell you one of the things which I always wish they would do more of. People with vitiligo, people with, especially black folks who have that kind of it's that piebald. That's a very interesting word. Kind of like the blotchy, this melanin, this distribution issues. That's something. Many people are albinism. Here's something new. Have you seen this? Have you noticed how all of a sudden women are saying menopause? Now, I don't know about you, but it's been around for a while. And I think that's one of the first things I ever heard when I was a kid. It's like, I didn't know what women, well, your aunt's in the hospital. Well, she's got a female thing. What do you mean? Well, but menopause, I knew about that. I was a kid. It's like, oh, yeah. Did you ever have a grandma? She's going through the change. Remember that? The change. I love that. Like lycanthropy, like werewolf. She's changing? Yeah. What do you mean? Well, you can't see it. But listen, Aunt Phoebe is acting a little weird. Well, she's going through the change. Oh, and Josephine had that too, right? Yeah. Is it back? Is it contagious? No, women get it. Really? It's not all, but sometimes you get a certain age. Well, it's nothing to worry about. I've heard about this my whole life. Didn't you know this? The change. Hot flashes. Didn't you understand this? And by the way, anybody who thinks that that's ridiculous, remember on All in the Family when Edith was going through the change, one of the funniest episodes ever. They said, Archie, you've got to understand. She's going through the change. He says, well, I can't take Edith. All of a sudden, the nicest woman turns into this vehicle. Yeah, she throws this thing at him. And Archie looked at him like, who's this? And the line from the movie or from the show was, she goes, you want to change? I'll give you 5 minutes. Now change. That's it. Tired of this bullshit. And Edith finally said, oh, Archie, that's my Archie. They were doing it then. What's that, 50 years ago plus? I've heard about this my whole life. I just have. Now, have you seen menopause podcasting? It's like the hottest thing around. Did you discover it? Yes, I'm the only person ever to go through menopause. I am. You are? My Aunt Phoebe. The hell with your Aunt Phoebe. Aunt Josephine. Forget Aunt Josephine. I got menopause. Can you believe it? Me so young, me so sexy, it's hard to believe, isn't it? And I'm brave. I'm going to tell you, here's what you can do. Say, everybody's happy. Doesn't matter. Next, hi, I'm going through puberty. What? That's right, I'm going through puberty. And it's a bitch. I've got zits. My voice is weird. I'm growing breasts and I'm a male. This is tough. I'm going through puberty. Puberty podcasting. Next, constipation podcast. I'm constipated. It's terrible. It's horrible. Well, they probably have that. Isn't it interesting how there's all this, so with that long definition in mind, you think that the royal family would say, listen, whatever Kate has or whatever Chuck has, we're going to adopt it. We're going to say, listen, make sure you get checked. Make sure. If I were Kate, I would be inviting all these women and men, whoever has this, if the case is to the Balmoral or wherever, and talk about it. Be the face of this. Embrace it. They're not going to vote you out of office. You don't have to worry about your poll numbers if that's what you're interested in. But she's nowhere to be found. She's nowhere. Nowhere. And it's almost like, is this the psyop of all psyops? How's Kate? What do you mean? What do I mean? She went in for abdominal surgery. No, she didn't. Yes, she did. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, what's it to you? What's it to you? How's she doing? With what? With her abdominal surgery. Oh, yeah. Oh, here's a picture of her. What? Yeah, here's a picture of her. This is Photoshop. You sick bastard. You conspiracy theory. And people are saying, no, here. Remember remember when Obama put out the birth certificate, and this one guy from somewhere said, "Look, I'm not a conspiracy. I just do graphic arts, and I saw this, and no." I hope he's alive still. So what I think now, hear me out. You ready for this? You ready for this? I swear to you, you're going to laugh at me, but this is what I think. I think there is, just forget Kate for a moment. Just put it into. There was a time when I swear to God that I thought, didn't you think one time that Melania, there was a double? Didn't you think that? There was one time, I don't know when it was, but I could have sworn to say, that's a Melania, that's a double. Okay? Now, what I would do is I would put out the worst double there is. I mean, sort of okay, but not really. I would have auditions. Too close, perfect. And I would have this person, and everybody watching would say, wait a minute, that's not Melania, or that's not Baron. Well, Baron would be kind of hard to, you got to find another 6'7". What if I brought somebody who's like 6'1"? I go, that's Baron. No, it's not. And then I'd say, yes, it is. I'd gaslight you. You're crazy. What do you mean I'm crazy? You're a sick conspiracy theorist lunatic. That's Melania. That's not. This is a black woman. Oh, you racist. Excuse me. That's not Melania. Yes, it is. No, it's not. I'm not going to bring up 9/11. I know this. I know nobody cares about that. I know. I've moved on. I moved on. 23 years ago. Well, there you go. Excuse me. Do I? Some of you might be too young. I'm no expert in this, but that's two of them. And then there's three of them. Wait a minute. Something going on here? You sick. What are you talking about? JFK assassination. Boom. They shot him in the front. No, they didn't. Yes, they did. What are you, a ballistics expert? I know a little bit about inertia. I've been in a car. I know about motion. They shot him in the front of the head. Bang. No, they didn't. You're a conspiracy theorist. What are you talking about? They gaslight you constantly. You do know this, right? They do things and then they say, I don't know what you're talking about. Just like doing January 6th. They were going to take over. How can this guy with a beer belly and an eye patch with no gun take over the 82nd Airborne? You could call up a platoon of just nothing. Bring a couple of MRAPs, show up with a truck mounted M50, and that's it. Breaking it up. That's it. End of this is not Pinochet but they're gaslighting you. They're telling you you're crazy. You're out of your mind. You're a nut. You're crazy. Same thing with Kate. That's not a Photoshop. Okay, then here's what they do. Hey, you know what? It was a Photoshop. Wait a minute. I told you it was a Photoshop. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, that's Kate. What do you mean that's Kate? She did this. Yeah, she's wacky. She's wacky. What are you talking about? She did this. Kate did this. Wait a minute. We haven't seen her, so she's in the basement. Like, give me this. She's got like one of those. Remember they always have those printers, visors. She's down. Wait a minute. What? She did this. Yeah, she did this. What are you talking about? She also did another picture. She did that one too. What is she? So she's deliberately sending out fake photos. Where is she? I don't know. Then one day they say, hey, look, here's Kate. Where? Who? Who's that? Who's that 20-year-old? That's Kate. That's not Kate. You conspiracy. You're gaslighting me again? Okay. So here's the story. I still find this fascinating. Here we go with this place. There's an APB and a BOLO. Be on the lookout for Kate since all over the place. Okay. Okay. And then all of a sudden, this guy says, hey, there's Kate. Let me get my camera about a mile away, put on my sniper filter, yeah, kind of grainy. And you see this walking like this. And then I take one snap, and that's it. None of the other people say, that's Kate. Quick, get a picture. Get a picture. Get a picture. Get a picture. We take pictures of everything. What are you talking about? Nobody was there to take a picture. Nobody saw her. Do you know the security contingent she'd have to have roll up for her to get out? The future queen consort of the future king of England, who looks like he's going to be taken over sooner than you thought. She's just walking around by herself. And the only picture, nobody from the staff, nobody from the gift shop, nobody from the parking lot, none of the other people, nobody noticed her. Nobody said, but this guy, one picture, one thing, that's it. They're gaslighting you. It's the most incredible thing you've ever seen in your life. It's on. Then they say, get ready. Wait till we put out. Then they put out this. Now, all I know is I'm no expert. And I'm not saying anything. I do know that ain't Kate, that picture. I'm not saying, I don't know where she is, but that's not Kate. Okay? That's it. And you can say whatever you want. Then they put out this video, which was the weirdest. What is this filter? What atmosphere is this? What is she on a planet? It's white, diaphanous, blanched. She's not moving. Well, she is. Like, okay, fine. Whatever. Maybe she's not feeling well. I thought nothing of it. And I'm watching. I said, well, that's good that she's there. And all of a sudden I said, wait a minute. I can't believe they're doing this. Look at the picture. Look at the background. Look at the picture. Look at the flowers. They're not moving. This isn't. Did you ever do one of those bad? We used to have a thing in Tampa called Olin Mills, where you get this family and you have this bad background of like, oh, we're in the field wearing a tie with your Uncle Leo with a big knot, and you're standing around a leisure suit, and behind you there's some pastoral setting. It was these things they pulled down. I mean, it was like so bad. They're doing it again. They're doing it again. They're gaslighting you. They love to say, you're crazy. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Then Laura Loomer comes up, God bless her, because they say she's crazy, but she put something out about the judge's daughter, and they're going crazy. You sick. They're trying to gaslight you, like, but I'm pointing something out. How dare you? Look what they did regarding Biden. Biden's walking around. Biden, you wouldn't. My friend always asks the question. Mark Simone asked the best question. He said, would you let Joe Biden drive you home from the airport? That's the best question. See what's going on? And I haven't even gotten to Diddy. Oh my God. What was the name of that record company? Uptown Records or Uptown Records? Out of the original group, all but two are alive. They're all dead. Young people, miraculously. Isn't that weird? What are you getting at? Sometimes people just don't. I'm telling you, they want, forget Occam's razor. They want you to just look the other way. Speaking of Mark Simone one time, I said, Mark, did you ever notice? Have you ever read the warning labels on antidepressants? No. I said, they're not side effects, they're effects. When you get a chance, just go and Google, just pick whatever you want, and look at these warning effects of an antidepressant. And one of the side effects is suicide. Now, I'm not trying to laugh, but there's something wrong with, that's like if you sell Ozempic, side effect is weight gain. Wait a minute. This is to lose weight. And you're saying I'm not saying that's true, but I'm saying by analogy. I said, you see how number one, murder, suicide, or suicide, and they always you have to list it in terms of those which are. It's just like when you read it in when you read a label. I'm a big label reader. It is in the order of what is the most prevalent. So number one should be, applesauce. Number one should be apples. If apples is number 5 on the list, this is not good. So the same thing with side effects or effects, as I call them. If murder, suicide, whatever it is number one, and they fought that one. They fought that one like you can't believe it. Okay, we got to put it under. Now, the argument could be made that people who need antidepressants may be prone to murder, suicide in the first. But anyway, so when I told Mark Simone, he just said, I never saw this before, which is true. It's like one of those things where you say, it's one of those eureka moments. And let me just tell you something. I'm not even done yet. We haven't gotten to the bottom of the Fannie Willis stuff. Fannie Willis, Diddy, Tiffany Henyard, for some reason, you have not picked up on this one. And the moment you do, it'd be like I saw the movie Sling Blade before anybody saw it. I saw like a pre-screening, and I was doing that. I was on the air at WABC, and they're saying, "Why is he making this noise?" I love taters. Why are you saying this? It's a movie. What movie? You'll know about it. And sure enough, I think it's one of the best movies I ever saw. Anyway, that's where we are with this. Now, when you find out Tiffany Henyard, you're going to say, how did I miss this? How did I miss this? I don't know. You just have. So that's where we are with that. So get ready, my friends. We have a lot to I hate this term, unpack. I don't say that. I hate that. We're going to unpack this. I hate that phrase. I hate awesome and I hate amazing. There's nothing amazing. Nothing. Nothing's amazing. All right, dear friends. Now, 2 things very, very quickly. To Cobbs, thank you so much. And MF, thank you as well. And thank you, dear friends. Now, before I forget, let me tell you something which is critical. I got a brand new, I think I told you about this, got this brand new YouTube channel. It's called Lionel Legal. Pretty good. Guess what it's about? Legal stuff, exclusively. But stories that we see, but almost from the legal team. So I want you very much to go and to sign up and subscribe. Do all that stuff, which is accordingly. And more importantly, I want you to go right this minute. Mrs. L has the most important YouTube channel there is. It's called Lynn's Warriors. What she is doing, what she knows, will blow your mind. Believe me, she is a walking encyclopedia of some of the horrors. That's my next thing. Okay, so make sure Lynn's Warriors. And also, dear friends, if you want to come out, I'm going to be there. Mrs. L is going to be there. The lovely and talented Dick Morris will be there. We're going to be at one of the, and let me say this. Let me see, where do I go back? Put this here. Here is the link. This is the link for you to link up on. Look at this. Wasn't Dwight Yoakam great as Doyle? Unbelievable. He was. Remember John Ritter was in there? Also, that guy, JD, whatever, was the first stage. By the way, this is the link. This is the link right there for Eventbrite. And we're going to be this coming April 4th. What am I saying? Thursday, April the 4th, 6:30 p.m. at the Metropolitan Republican Club. This is one of the premier. This is a really neat, the oldest. This has been around since Teddy Roosevelt, Upper East Side. And we're going to be talking. It's going to be a fireside chat with me. Mrs. L will be there and Dick Morris. And we're going to be talking at levels that you need to know. And it is this, but I just put the links on right there. And I'm going to have this link as soon as I get done on my Twitter at Lionel Media. So anyway, Metropolitan Republican Club. And by the way, we're not that this should sell you, but we're doing this. We're not making any money on this. We're doing this because this information's got to be made. Lori Cuck, by the way, says, morning, I'm watching that thug Tiffany. Church was beautiful yesterday. My spirits are lifted. Absolutely. You know what? That's exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. There's something about, there is something about if you look at the message, and I mean this, if you look at the message and you look at what the notion of resurrection is, and look at the message of it, it's invigorating. And to think that your president picked that day to pronounce to the world about transgender, whatever. Think about that. On the holiest day of Christianity. All right? Okay. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I had a delight this day. And thank you. And also a special shout out to our den mother, Liz Solak, who keeps everybody the final tabulation of likes. Very, very good. 451. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. I appreciate that because remember, subscribe to this channel and hit the likes. That is, I know you hear this all the time, and it's a pain in the neck. Every time you go to every channel, there's somebody begging, please like this, like this. Okay. And I realize that, but it's true. Lori says, that bastard. That says it all. All right, dear friends, we'll see you. Got loads of stuff to do today. Going to be doing Lionel Legal. Going to be doing this. Thank you so much. Have a great and glorious day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. And until then, remember, THC tonight, 7 p.m. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dat.